Hi, I'm Swarupa Sail, course instructor for Geotechnical Engineering 2. In this presentation, we will go through forces that act on earth slopes, types of failures of earth dams, and stability analysis of finite slopes using Swedish circle method. Here we can see the forces which are acting on earth slopes. This is what is infinite slope, which is shown by a solid line. And this arrow indicates the downward movement of the soil mass. That is nothing but the component of the weight. Due to downward movement of the soil mass, there will be failure of the slope. And this failure is being shown here with the dotted line, which is referred to as failure surface. In second figure, we can see failure of earth dam. So this is what is the natural slope, and due to downward movement of the soil mass, there will be failure, and the failure surface is shown here with the help of the dotted line. And here the arrow indicates the component of weight. In third figure, we can see this is what is the natural slope. And here we can see groundwater table. Due to seepage parallel to the slope, there will be the failure of the slope. In this figure, we can see that the point A represents original level of the water and point B represents final level of water, that is the lowering of water table has taken place from level A to B. So due to the sudden drawdown condition, there will be failure of the surface, and that failure surface is being shown here by the dotted line. In this figure, we can see that this is what is the slope, and due to earthquake forces, there will be failure of the surface, which is again shown here by the dotted line. This downward arrow indicates the weight of the soil mass, and the arrow pointing towards left indicates earthquake force. Here in this figure, we can see types of failures of earth dams. In the first figure, we can see the rotational slide which has occurred at the radial distance r from center of rotation O. And this is what is the circular rupture surface. And this is referred to as rotational slide. Second is the slope failure, and this slope failure is usually seen in case of the soil of high strength. We can see that only the certain portion of the slope has failed, whereas the downward portion is still stable. This can be referred to as face failure. Second is toe failure. In case of toe failure, we can see that the failure has occurred from top till the bottom, that is toe. And it is seen in case of homogeneous soil. Last is the base failure, and we can see here that the failure has taken place from top till the bottom, but it has extended into the ground. That is, the failure has gone beyond the general level of the ground surface, and this is observed in case of softer soil. Next, we will see various stability analysis methods for finite slopes. First one is Swedish slip circle method. Second is friction circle method, and last one is Taylor's stability number. First one is stability analysis of finite slopes using Swedish circle method. Here there are certain assumptions made. First one is the material of the slope is homogeneous, and the soil is purely cohesive in nature, that is phi is equal to 0. And the failure surface has a curved or circular or spoon-like surface as shown here in this figure. The shear strength of the soil is uniformly distributed along the failure plane. So this is what is the failure plane, and it is assumed that the shear strength of the soil is uniformly distributed along the failure plane. That means shear strength will remain same throughout the length of the failure plane. And it is possible only if we assume that phi is equal to 0. Here we can see the slope of certain stretch, and it is assumed that the section is of unit width, and this is what is assumed for the analysis of the slope. So what we have to remember is the section of unit width is assumed. That is, width is equal to 1. Now we will go through the analysis methods using Swedish circle method. First one is analysis of purely cohesive soil, wherein phi is equal to 0, and it is referred to as phi equal to 0 analysis. Second one is analysis of soil having both cohesion and friction, that is C and phi. So it is referred to as C phi analysis. First one is analysis of purely cohesive soil, that is phi equal to 0 analysis. Here we can see a finite slope extending from point 1 to 2. And the stability of this finite slope has to be analyzed. That means we need to check whether this slope will fail or not. In order to know whether it will fail or not, we need to find out its factor of safety. So to find factor of safety, we will follow certain method. So to begin with, what we'll have to do is we'll have to assume the trial slip circle, that is the trial failure plane, which is shown by points A and B. So AB is the trial slip circle which has been assumed. And we assume that this trial slip circle is at a radial distance r from the center of rotation, that is point O. And angle AOB is equal to theta. The length of AB is taken as L and C is unit cohesion. W is the weight of the soil acting through the center of gravity, that is point G. And weight of soil mass is acting at the distance E from the center of rotation O. So as it was already mentioned in the previous slide, we will assume the trial slip circle, that is AB. Then we will find factor of safety of this assumed circle. And if the circle has got minimum factor of safety, then it is referred to as critical slip circle. That means there will be a failure along this surface. So AB is the trial slip circle, R is the radius, O is the center of rotation. We know that the formula to find factor of safety is resisting moment divided by driving moment. Now we need to know what is driving moment. Driving moment is nothing but force into distance. We know that moment is the product of force and distance. So here force is W, as we can see from the figure. W is the force which is acting downwards, and it is acting at a distance E from the center O. So movement which is causing the rotation of this soil mass is W into E. So we write driving movement. That means the movement which is causing the failure is W, that is force, into E, that is distance. Here W is weight of the soil wedge extending from point A, 1, 2, B and A. So this total weight of the soil mass will cause the failure, and it is of unit thickness, and also it is acting through point G. And E is the distance of the line of action of W from the vertical line which is passing through point O. So now we have the equation to find driving moment. Now we need to know what is resisting moment. Resisting moment is again force into distance. So force here is nothing but the shear resistance which is developed along AB. That means driving moment is acting downwards, whereas here we can see with this arrow that the shear resisting is acting upwards. That means it is resisting the flow of the soil mass which is acting downward here. So shear resistance is given by equation C into L, where C is unit cohesion and L is the length of slip arc AB. And this shear resistance is acting at a radial distance R from center of rotation O. So resisting moment will be force into distance. Force is nothing but shear resistance, that is SR, into distance is R. And we have already written the equation for shear resistance, that is C into L. So resisting moment will be C into L into R. So we know resisting moment and driving moment. Now we can write equation for factor of safety. So factor of safety is equal to resisting moment divided by driving moment. Resisting moment is C into L into R and driving moment is W into E. Here L is given by equation 2 pi r theta divided by 360, where r is the radius and theta is the angle between AOB, which is the angle made at the center of rotation, that is theta. Next, we will go through analysis of soil having both cohesion and friction, which is referred to as C5 analysis. The total stress analysis can be adapted to this case by dividing the area within the slip circle into number of vertical slices as shown here in this figure. Here we can see that the area within the slip circle is divided into vertical slices. This is slice number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So there are altogether 7 slices being made. The forces on a slice is shown here. So this is what is the slice 2, and the reactions R1 and R2 at the sides of the slice are assumed to be equal. So R1 is equal to R2. R1 is exerted from slice 3 and R2 is being exerted from slice 1. Since R1 is equal to R2, they will cancel out. And remaining forces acting on slice 2 will be the weight which is acting downward. N is the normal component and T is the tangential component. And these will be acting on all the slices being made. So here we can see that there are 8 slices being done. Slice number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. O is the center of rotation and OA equal to OB, which is equal to the radial distance R. So here we will consider slice number 1 and we will assume that the weight of each slice will be acting at the center of the slice. So dotted line indicates center of slice 1. So here dotted line indicates center of slice 2 and so on for all the slices. And as shown in figure, we can see that W1 is acting to the center of slice 1. W2 is also acting through center of slice 2. W3 through center of slice 3. W4 through center of slice 4 and so on. N1 is the normal component and T1 is the tangential component. That means this W is resolved into 2 components, that is normal component N1 and tangential component T1. Similarly, W2 is resolved into 2 components, N2 and T2. We know that weight of the soil mass, that is W, is responsible for the failure of the slope. Now we will check whether its components are responsible for the rotation, that is the downward movement of the soil mass. We know that the components of the weight are normal component N and tangential component T. So we will check whether normal component will cause rotation or not, and also we will have to check whether tangential component will cause rotation or not. To begin with, we will check whether normal component is responsible for the rotation. From this figure, we can see that the normal component N is passing through the center of rotation, that is O. So we can say that the normal component N1 of the slice 1 is passing through center of rotation O. Similarly, N2 is passing through center of rotation O. And here we can see that N5 is passing through center of rotation O, and so on for all the slices. Even N8 is passing through center of rotation O. So there is no distance between normal component and center of rotation. So the distance between N, that is force, and point O is equal to 0. So if you want to find moment, we know that the equation is force into distance. Here if we consider for slice 1, then it will be N1, which is the force, into distance. Distance between N1 and O will be 0 because N1 is passing through point O. Similarly, N2 into 0. N2 is also passing through point O. There is no distance between N2 and point O. And so on till the slice number 8. So we write N8 into 0 equal to 0. Now we know that as all normal components, that is N1, N2, N3, N4, N5, N6, N7 and N8 are passing through the center of rotation O. They do not cause any driving moment on the slice. We have seen that driving moment is 0 for all the cases. Now we will check whether tangential component causes driving moment or not. Here from this figure we can see that the tangential component, that is T1 for slice 1, is at distance R from point O. So T1 will cause rotation, that is movement. So force is T1 and distance is R. So movement will be T1 into R. Similarly for slice 2 it will be T2 into R. And for slice 3 it will be T3 into R. And so on for all the slices. So here we can write driving force as summation of tangential components, that is T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus T4 till T8. And driving moment is force into distance. Force is summation of P and distance is R, that is the radial distance between point O and all the tangential components. So here we have written summation of T is sum of all the tangential components. Now we will find out what is resisting moment. As already we have got the equation for driving moment as summation of T into R, and we know that only tangential component of W is contributing to the rotation of the soil mass, whereas normal component is not responsible for the rotation. Now we will find out what is resisting moment. To find resisting moment, we need to know what is resisting force, because resisting moment will be force into distance. Distance is R. But what is resisting force? Resisting force is given by equation C into L plus summation of N into tan phi, where C is unit cohesion and L is curved length. And summation of N is sum of all normal components. And here in this figure we can see that The tangential components from T1 till T6 are shown in downward direction, whereas T7 and T8 are shown in upward direction. So that means the tangential components of few slices at the base will cause resisting movement. And in this case, we take T as negative. That is, tangential component of slice 7 and slice 8 will be negative. Now we will write the equation for factor of safety, which will be ratio of resisting moment to driving moment. We have already got the equation for resisting moment, that is CLR plus summation of N tan phi into R, and driving moment is summation of T into R. R will get cancelled out, so we get factor of safety equal to CL plus summation of N tan phi divided by summation of T, where L is length of the arc, which is given by equation 2 pi r theta divided by 360. In the diagram, theta is taken as delta, so here we can replace theta by delta and we can write same equation as L equal to 2 pi r delta divided by 360. Thank you.